You need to learn how to start saying no to things that you want to do with the recognition that you have only one life. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So if you're new to this channel, I just usually share some of the things that I used to change my lifestyle in the past several years by building a healthy routine, by going to the gym, and by reading my books. Occasionally I share some of the fun things in my life as well. And today is my favorite topic is about books. I'm always wondering the question of what's life is really about. So is it about getting a good grade at school and then finding a good job and just get married and get done with it? It seems to me that life is a little bit more than that, because I feel like that script is up till you're 30-something years old or maybe early 40s. And then what? So I think about this question a lot, and recently I've read 4 books that really inspire me that I can find answers about what's life really about. So let's dive right into it. It's our book club series, 4 books about life. So the first book is 1,000 Brains, A New Theory of Intelligence by Jeff Hawkins. Jeff Hawkins is a tech entrepreneur. He wrote this book in such a way it's not that really lab theory heavy. So somebody like me, I can easily read it and understand how we learn as human beings, learn to understand the world, like from the very beginning, the basics of how our brain works. Knowing how our brain works seems to have nothing to do with how to live our lives. However, if you learn to appreciate how sophisticated and delicate our brain is designed and structured, and how amazing it is if you were to do it and use it correctly, you will know how to live your life. It's a book constantly reminds me of how trivial our everyday issues are, and compared to the immense possibilities that other intelligent species might once exist, and how short our time on Earth is compared to the billions of years of history of the universe. And thinking of all those, and as a human being, which is an intelligent race on Earth, I think nothing bothers me today or yesterday should matter that much. As long as I am learning, as long as I'm living, as long as I am absorbing new knowledge and observe the world, live my life in a way that my brain can develop a little bit more understanding about how amazing this planet is, it's all worth it. So learning all those breathtaking knowledge about brain and possibilities about preserving human intelligence of the future today and now is truly like how the author mentioned. It's an incredibly exciting time to be alive. Read it and you will learn how fascinating our brain and how much we should pay attention to it for it to thrive and to learn and to experience every day wholeheartedly. One quote from the book: "Curiosity is one of the old brain functions, and stick with it. Be curious about the world." So the second book is The 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. I swear I'm not building up numbers here. It's just coincidence that I read those 2 books in sequence. The main takeaway I have from this book is we really have to live here and now. The idea of 4,000 weeks is that, let's say our average lifespan is around 80 years old. Some are longer, some are shorter, but on average, each one of us, it's all fair. We have 4,000 weeks to live on this planet. As chilling as it is to read it as a fact, where is the book started, it's also a relief. It's very important to learn to prioritize what's important to us and how we can live our life, and to grasp every second that's here and now. I read this book at a time that, and it's very long winter in London. I'm not made for this winter. Thankfully, I have read all those books, and this one specifically gave me some reassurance that we are all equal. We all have the same amount of time on Earth. So it depends on how we are going to use those times. And actually, we couldn't really use the time because time is equal and it's gonna pass and come no matter what. Recognizing it's okay just to stay in the present, to be okay to just do a little bit more every day, and to be a little bit better every day. Really treasure every second, every minute when we're still here alive, and to be curious about every day. You know, every day could be a better memory. Depends on how you look at it, and depends on what kind of priorities that you put in your life. I think it could have been a shorter book, to be honest, but maybe some message worth mentioning more than once. So if you're looking for a quick fix, go straight to the appendix, but that's kind of missing the point of the book. Living at the moment and go through the process, be patient about life, give yourself time to really enjoy life. I like this quote: "You need to learn how to start saying no to things that you want to do with the recognition that you have only one life." Unfortunately, precisely because that's all you can do, it's also all that you ever had. The third one I want to recommend is called A Pathless Path. It's by Paul Miller. I love this book. I cannot stop reading it until I finish it within like 4 days because it's so inspiring to see someone who jumped out of the usual playbook and the so-called get educated, get a good job, get married, and have a kid story. This guy has 10 years of experience of consulting. One life health crisis has given him this opportunity to rethink his life, to reimagine the stories that he can write about himself, and also lead him to this pathless path now, eventually to this book. As Paul said in the book, to know what matters to you and to create a story that makes sense to you and stay on the path is more important than how the world viewed you. If you look back to the first 2 books that we talked about, it all makes sense because we only have that much amount of time on earth. It's up to us how to use our brains. Knowing who we are as a person and what's our priorities is way more important than knowing what the society really wants. After all, we all have our own story and deserve to write our own narrative. Favorite quote from the book is, "Nothing good gets away as long as you create a space to let it emerge." It's the same concept as they stay in the present, give it time, be patient, just do the mundane kind of work every day and good things will happen. Reading this book feels like talking to a friend, ex-colleague who has finally decided to chase his or her dream despite the difficulties or how it might be viewed in the common view success might be. Fortunately, nowadays more and more people has embraced the idea of a different paths in life versus the usual path. I was so excited after I finished reading. I even wrote an email to the author, and you know what? He replied me. No, if he's watching this, really thank you so much. You know, I will remember that day. Like, just give myself a little bit more chance to be connected to the world. You would never know what surprise is waiting for you. So he also have a YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below. The final book is The Courage to be Disliked by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. It's a classic book. So I've seen it on the YouTube channels. I've seen it when my friends talk to me. It's a conversation between the youth and the philosopher on how you can actually be happy in life. It's about the Alfred Adler, about his work. The main concept is everything. It's about interpersonal relationships, which to some extent it's right. And so you read it with this question in your head, like how applicable it is to your life. To a large extent, I think most of the problems in our life is about interpersonal relationship. Of course, you have to bypass certain point of survival, health, that kind of thing. And if you back to day-to-day life, most of the times the issues of life is about interpersonal relationship. This book is a little bit hard to read because it's a conversation between a young guy who didn't really understand this whole concept and want to understand how you can be happy, and this philosopher was walking through this whole idea with him. But if you read it slow, the idea is just to teach us how to break free from our own set of rules in the society, and the idea where once we truly live for ourselves, know what we want, enjoy the journey, and contribute, we will never be unhappy again. These 4 books, really, despite how different they might look like from the cover, I surprisingly found that there are some common points and some conclusions, at least for me, it served as a North Star of how I should live my life and how I should make my decisions. I summarize as 4 points. The first point is be curious, as I always said, and as how our brain learns things and how we navigate about life. Once you're curious about things, you would never really be stuck in some situation because you always wanted to understand what's behind it. You can always learn something when you're curious. So it's a good way to look at things with the curious mindset. Second point is never stop learning and never stop exploring new opportunities to live a new life. I think to explore a new path or simply just to do something a little bit different every day or a little bit challenging every day, to give yourself an opportunity to explore something else. The third one is understand yourself. When you have the energy and capacity to take care of yourself, and then you can love others and be useful to others, and that's the key of happiness. The final point is, and as always, stay present and enjoy every second of life. So that's the end of today's video. I really love my book club series. Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope these 4 books can somewhat help you. See you next time.